RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, everybody. Hey, what's up? All right, my name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for joining me. We meet here at the RDT Daily Facebook and YouTube channels every Saturday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. And we are replayed starting Sunday on Progressive Voices from 6 to 8 p.m. or anytime on the Progressive Voices app. And we're also on GDPR Revolution 99. I'm afraid to move this microphone because I'm afraid it's going to fall. And iTunes, SoundCloud, everywhere you think we should be, we probably are. So the other thing, all right, I got to get through this whole palaver in the beginning because we need support. I want to thank, we already have some patrons, so I want to thank the early adopters of this show. You guys have been with me every week from the beginning, and I know the best is yet to come. This is just the beginning, and I can't do it without you. I wouldn't do it without you. Why the hell would I do it? You know what I mean? I need you. I really do. So I want to thank because we opened a Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, but it's not just for the Tarabuster show. It's also for RDT Daily. So donating or becoming a patron of the RDT Daily brand, so to speak, is you're helping us have more liberal content in general. We will write more articles. We will have more writers. We'll be able to bring people on board to hold the feet of these Republican fascist bastards, hold their feet to the fire. We will stand a fighting chance against the Mercer family. So just like Bernie did it $27 at a time, that's how we're going to do it. Ultimately, my dream, my goal, it's going to take a while, I'm sure, is, or maybe I might be surprised, but is to do a daily show at some point. Now we do it on the weekends. If we get to the point where there's enough patrons, then I will be able to do a show every day, like Tom Hartman, like Randy Rhoads, like Mike Malloy, and but it'll be listener supported, and so is RDT Daily. So on RDT Daily, we have the main website, and if you haven't checked it out, please do. Dara Lucas is a prolific writer. He's on there. He is constantly churning out some really good stuff. So I write when I can. We have Grouchy Grumbles on there. And also on the RDT Daily Facebook page, there's a really active community of liberals and a couple of trolls. They get in there. But I allow right-wingers to stay on there if they know how to behave themselves, of course, right? But that's a lot to ask a lot of times. They don't add anything to the conversation. They bring nothing of value to the table. So if there are some right-wingers that want to have a nice conversation or whatever, they're welcome. But I generally don't suffer the fools gladly. We kick them out because who needs it? There's enough. I get enough angst on Fox News. Not that it's always good to be preaching to the choir. That's part of the problem. But I just want to thank our patrons right now. Daniel S., Lisa Minor, Michael D., Michael L., and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Paradu. I suck at words. And Thomas, there's somebody, I don't know if he actually finished, but I think he might have aborted his attempt to become a patron. Who knows? He'll be back, hopefully. So guys, I want to thank you for being early adopters. And also, I will probably send you guys a message because I need your addresses, because I will send you some keep calm and join the resistance. Window clings. All right, so there are some gifts depending on the level, and as I figure out really what the hell is going on with Patreon, I think there will be more goodies going on and more exclusive shows and gatherings for patrons only. So I really got to get my mind around what the hell. And what the hell it is, what we're doing. I know there will be some patron only shows. Hopefully when the show gets really big, well, who knows what'll happen. We can have gatherings in real life. We can, whatever. We can have a hangout, a Google hangout. We can all talk together. Okay, guys, what else? I had a shitty week. I've been kind of depressed, to tell you the truth. So that's why thank you for being here. I'm not, fronting ain't easy, you know what I mean? I just lay it out, frankly. I'm not in a good mood, but I'm gonna go to Georgia next week because Mike Malloy has written a book, and there will be a gathering in the North Georgia mountains that all are welcome to go, and I wasn't gonna go because I lost my primary source of income, let's put it that way, suddenly, a couple weeks ago, people know, and I was thrown for a loop. It was an unexpected gift right before the holidays, and I got really down and also worried about money and life in general, but I'm gonna go to this. It's only gonna be for the day. I'm basically going down there Friday, staying Saturday, and coming back Sunday. But I know that I would kick myself and regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't go, because I was really getting depressed thinking about not going, because really, what is the meaning of life, right? This is what I was struggling with. Besides celebrating life's victories and defeats, right? Not celebrating the defeats, but being there with your friends, but also celebrating their victories with your friends and the people that you love. These times will never come again, right? So we're only here for a short period of time, and this is why, this is a whole other, this is really why we are here and why we're liberals. And I personally, this is why I'm a liberal, because I just feel like it's a battle between the right side of humanity and the lesser aspects of the human condition. We're either because we are standing as liberals. We're standing on the right side of history. We're standing on the right side of humanity. We really are in this together, and we are together for such a short period of time. Life is a blink, and as somebody who studies history, I love history, and part of the reason I realize that I love history is because people are the same, no matter what. You look throughout history, that it's just the same struggles, the same wanting to belong, the same wanting to be seen, wanting to be valued and respected. I think that's there's been that's the struggle of humanity, and I think that we're here for such a short period of time that it's the best that we can do is to be there for each other and have compassion and have anyway. Well, maybe I'm sounding like an idiot, but I'm thinking that that is why we will win. Frankly, I always say we stick together, we win. That is the only way we're gonna win, is together. And the Republican Party, this is why they have to work so hard at dividing people, because they're standing on the wrong side of humanity, and they know it. Even the reason why they do what they do, which is greed. And when I was thinking about what am I going to talk about today, because there's so much going on, it never stops, as we know. But I was thinking that really. What happened with Khashoggi, and there's so many things. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the report that just came out with the that Trump had to release with about the climate. Basically, that if we don't do something now, yesterday, we're done for. It's over. So that's the Republican Party for you. So what do they give a shit, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me though. So okay, well I'll get into that in a minute. And I also wanted to talk about Trump and Khashoggi and his complete dictator envy for the Saudi monsters, and how really sick I was to my stomach watching it unfold. It really literally made me nauseous to think about what they did, but also what Trump's response is, how he has really denigrated the good name of the United States. If there was anything good about us, yes, we've had our struggles and we've been around the world, not making the world safe for democracy or spreading mom and apple pie. We've been sticking our big corporate noses into the affairs of other states and not leaving them better for it, which is why we have a migrant caravan coming up here, looking to escape the hellholes that we had a hand in creating. So yeah, we are pretty much the height of hypocrisy, the American government. But we're at least, at one time it seemed that we gave lip service to democracy, to freedom, to the values of the Enlightenment that we were founded on. We weren't founded on Judeo-Christian values, whatever the hell that is. And you know that the Republican Party, they only say, oh, we were founded on Judeo-Christian values, because they have to get Judeo in there somehow, because they feel like it sounds more inclusive. But it's just another branding, an exercise in branding their bullshit brand. They don't give a shit. Judeo-Christian values. They don't, Judeo whatever, who cares? They're all about Christian, right? Pushing their fake version of Jesus, whoever Jesus, I don't know what bastardized version of Jesus they pulled out of their ass, but it certainly isn't that socialist hippie that healed the sick or warned the rich of their greed. That's for sure. So, and anyway, but we know the hypocrisy there, because I always say that I kind of wish when Republicans talk about that they're into Jesus, I say I wish they were into Jesus, because then we wouldn't be where we are. We'd already have universal health care. We'd already have universal higher education. Maybe we wouldn't have money in politics. Maybe, because all these greedy bastards would have given up all their wealth to go follow the socialist hippie, right? But they, of course, they're just full of it. They're all into this prosperity gospel bullshit, which is just another reason or excuse, or a superior moral justification for not giving a shit about anybody but themselves. And that's, that's there you go again. That's the fight between the higher self and the lower self. And I think that there's some people are just more evolved than others. It is a process. People learn along the way. At least you hope you do. But I don't see somebody like a Trump. Like what the hell has he learned in his useless life? Now if that isn't a useless, wasted life, I do not know what is. Somebody who was handed everything, but brought nothing to the table, but ignorance and ugliness and greed and selfishness. That's so somebody who's had every opportunity given to him and could do nothing, and it does nothing of value, including making the worst children. Not only does he suck, but his prodigy is, none of them have rebelled. Wouldn't you think that at least one of them would be like, yeah, my father's a dick. I'm really sorry, right? But they're all just sycophants, just like Trump is Putin's bitch. They're all just begging for daddy's approval somehow. Why? I guess because they're afraid. They all know, just like Trump knew, that he'd be nothing without his father's trust fund. His father, who bailed him out numerous times, again and again and again, that Trump's useless children, they know the same thing. Where the hell would they be without their daddy teaching them his scams? Because that's what they are. These aren't business people. They're not innovators. They're not bringing anything of value to the table. They are coming up with some scam to separate dupes from their money. That's all they do. Oh, okay. So it's real genius, Ivanka. Oh, let me buy low, sell high, right? So let me make my shitty handbags in a wage slave country. Wow. You're such an innovator, where I can exploit workers and don't have to follow environmental rules or regulations. Who needs those filthy regulations? And that's when Republicans whine about regulations, that's what they're longing for. They're longing for the United States. They want to make the American worker competitive with the wage slaves in other nations by turning the American worker into a wage slave at home. So why export the slavery if you can, the wage slavery, if you can just keep it at home, keep it here? And trust me, it won't happen overnight, but they're on it. It's on their way. Because think about this. 30 years ago, the number one employer in the United States was General Motors. A union job. It was, you started at like $35 an hour. You had a pension, retirement security, benefits, and people had that job for their lives, and they would retire from it, and then you had a pension for the rest of your life. Now, the number one employer in this country is Walmart, where they make such a pittance that they are the number one employer with the majority of employees not the majority of employees. I'm stating it wrong. They have the most number of employees on Republican assistants. No, there's no Republican assistants. They don't give a shit. Hey, better luck next life, sucker. So, oh God. And there you go. Now when Barack Obama when he saved GM from going under, one of the concessions that were made by the union was they would bring the new workers in at a lower wage. So I think they came in at $15 an hour or something. So you're talking about a difference between night and day here. So the American dream, that 40 years that we look back on, and it's known as the Great Prosperity after World War II, when we had a 35% unionization and 90% top marginal tax rate, where the rich invested in the country because they weren't getting all the ill-gotten gains funneled to the top. So they had to, after a certain amount of money that they made, they would be taxed at 90%, and that was commonly understood as a patriotic tax that prevented the development of an intergenerational aristocracy, and they understood that. But that's why Republicans had to whittle away at it, one step at a time. So they have been quite successful in redefining the American dream from you too can have a decent middle class life to maybe one day you can be a billionaire, that's the scam right there. It's like playing the lottery. One person will be picked out, and maybe next time it'll be you, but most likely not. And the rest of us will be here fighting amongst each other for the scraps. So the mark of a country, of a successful country, should not be whether we create more billionaires than any other country, because that's what we're making here. Because it doesn't trickle down. It should be, do we share? Does the majority of the people in the country share in the fruits of their labors? You know, when the productivity of the American worker is through the roof or whatever, and we're still not seeing it in our paychecks for generations, that is not an accident. That's by design. It's the same way that the American middle class was built on purpose through government policy. It wasn't built because some billionaire felt like trickling it upon us. In fact, it was built through a lot of struggle and the death, the blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices of the labor movement that fought for every concession, that they had to take, kicking and screaming from the elites. So what a trick these Republicans have played for them to position themselves as the champions of the working class. And then you have this orange asshole, this orange con man calling himself, and like that Scaramucci sucker, calling him the blue collar billionaire. What a scam. Blue collar billionaire. This is the same piece of this wasted human DNA, the same con man that harassed tenants, old people in his apartment buildings that were living in rent-controlled apartments, harassed them. People on Social Security. He wouldn't change the light bulbs in the hallway. So, your old granny who worked her whole goddamn life and is retired, living, who unfortunately finds herself in one of Trump's shitty buildings, and he wants her out because he can make more money. He doesn't want to make money. He can't make money with some old lady on Social Security. Get the hell out, old lady. I don't care if you've been living there since the 40s. Go die. Donald Trump needs your space because he wants money. You're nothing but a host from which to suck profit. And these are the parasites. So, the Republican Party they've been great at branding because they've had to be, because they have nothing in reality to boast about. So when they talk about people on Social Security or those on public assistance as parasites, that they're takers, the fact is, the working class used to understand who the real parasites were. It's those at the top who grow fat like bloodied leeches on the backs of the working class. And I'm sounding like a real IRA bomb thrower here now, but it's the truth. We need to have a paradigm shift in this country that it's not, you can, there's only so many hours in the day to drive an Uber so you can make ends meet, and not even come close to the standard of living that used to be considered an American birthright, right? So how many Ubers can you drive? There's no security, though. So if something happens to you, I guess you're got to have a GoFundMe page, right? Because there's no security, there's no job security, there's nothing, what can you fall back on? Get your hustle on, right? Everybody's got to have a side hustle. That's bullshit. Why? What is the meaning of life? Which brings me back to the beginning. It's really true. What is the meaning of life? Is it just to work? To make some rich bastard like Trump have an easier life? Or Donald Trump Jr., for Christ's sakes? Or Ivanka, some brat born on third base And now these bastards get to inherit their ill-gotten gain of their father and their grandfather tax-free. Now that whole thing with the estate tax, once we get back the White House and the Senate, this all has to be addressed. And not only, I mean, honestly, ultimately, money in politics is the root of all evil. We know that. But we have such work to do. Our work is cut out for us. But, and one of the things that we have to do, this is why it's not just me just saying because I want you to be a patron or whatever, but this is why a show like this is important. Liberal shows are important. It's the liberal media, which is you're looking at it, is important. It's because we have to get the word out that we have an estate tax. It's not a death tax, morons. I'm not talking to the viewers. I'm talking to the right wingers that say, "Oh, I stumbled upon your show" or whatever. But it's not a death tax. It's a tax to maintain democracy. So, because you can't have an intergenerational aristocracy and a democracy. In fact, that's exactly what the founders fought a revolution to escape, right? Why would they fight a revolution against a king and intergenerational wealth and privilege to set up that same system here? They didn't. They were students of the liberal age of enlightenment. They were setting up a system with all its flaws. Of course, they didn't believe, women weren't included, people of color weren't included. It was all straight white men. Of course, yes, we know that. But that's what they were setting up a republic. That was a radical idea in the thousands of years of Western civilization. What we were living under was intergenerational aristocracy. It was privilege, wealth and privilege, very much a hierarchical structure. If you were born into wealth, that's how you remained. If you were born poor, there was no chance of you really rising to the top. You weren't going into a different class. But the writings of the Enlightenment started to shift that the mindset of humanity, and one by one, we started to these systems began to be overthrown, and the United States, and you had the French Revolution, and it wasn't like all of the sudden that it was through hard. It didn't happen overnight, is what I'm trying to say. It's that it began with a change in mindset, just like I fear now we're slipping back into this authoritarian mindset because it's always been there, and we always have to fight it, right? And which is why, I mean, there's so many things. Like Republicans, this is why they don't like public education. They don't want children to learn these things. They want children to learn bullshit. Yes, we're a Judeo-Christian society. They don't want to offend their sky spook. So, anyway, all right. So what, and speaking of, all right, not speaking of a sky spook, but just speaking of authoritarians and this nightmare we're living under, I am sickened to watch Trump kiss the ass of the Saudi dictators. Now, you're talking about a bunch of dictators. Why? What am I asking this question? I was going to say, why does Trump love dictators? Of course he loves because he is just like them. They can't win fairly on the field of ideas. They have to ram their anti-human ideology down people's throats. That's what they want. That's what Trump wants here. He's not out there trying to win, legitimately. The Republicans, they can't win legitimately. This is why they have to suppress the vote. And not only that, it's not just suppressing the vote, they have to lie. And they have to stir up fear and hatred against each other. In a nation of immigrants, to stir up hatred about immigrants. I mean, how much do you have to hate your country to behave like that? If that doesn't say it all about what the hell we're dealing with. And of course, as you know, as soon as the midterms were over, where's the caravan? We don't hear anything about the caravan anymore. All of a sudden, this caravan that was breathing down our necks, and we had to hear what's her face? That one. Thank goodness she was defeated. The one who was like, "Don't you want to talk about the caravan? Don't you want to talk about the caravan?" Like, what? I guess there are a lot of stupid people in this country, and that are so easily manipulated. But I mean, do you want to talk about? You're talking about people who they're not even on a border state. They're worried about this caravan. They're because they're racist. That's what it is. I mean, ultimately, if you just tickle the funny bone of these people just a little bit, you scratch the surface, and you will find that right under the thin skin, is racism. They're afraid. They're afraid of brown people. They're afraid that if all things are equal, we're all going to figure out just how inadequate they truly are, and But that's, Republicans are aware of that, and that's how I mean, it's just, when I think about it, it's like, that's how you know how much they hate this country, because if they really had the best interests of this country at heart, they would be working to unify the American people. They wouldn't lie so openly, so readily, so prolifically, constantly, and to our faces. They would be seeking to unify us. But everything that Trump and the Republicans say they're just full of shit. But wait, where is this? Because now he sent. See, I was in the National Guard. Unlike any of Trump's forefathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, anybody with Trump DNA. I actually wore the uniform of this country. I didn't have bone spurs. I wasn't afraid of rain. So unlike the Twitler and his minions, they love this country so much. None of them they wouldn't sacrifice lunch, much less a day of service for this country. And even now, as you know, they're not in service to this country. They are in this. They get into government to rig it for themselves because they can't. They suck so much. They suck at business. Wharton School of Business. Who cares? They suck. So they understand that they can't win unless it's rigged. And if it's not rigged, they whine that it's unfair. And that's how, I mean, when I always say I knew fascism was going to suck, but I didn't realize it was going to be this whiny, right? It's just, it's unbearably whiny. So he's talking about, it's so unfair. Everything is so unfair. But where the hell is it? There's so many things I wanted to say. Because on Thanksgiving, I don't know if you saw this. You want to vomit? I'm sorry. Trump. Well, there's many things. He gave that interview. I wanted to play that on Fox News, where he gave himself an A+. Let's just play a clip of that.
Where do you rank yourself in the pantheon of great presidents? There's Lincoln and Washington. There's FDR and Reagan. Do you make the top 10?
I think I'm doing a great job. We have the best economy we've ever had.
So where do you rank yourself?
We're doing really well. We would have been in war with North Korea if, let's say, that administration continued forward. I would give myself, look, I hate to do it, but I will do it. I would give myself an A+. Is that enough? Can I go higher than that?
What a con man. It's like, step right up. I got everything that ails you right here in this bottle, right? But it ends up being nothing but laudanum, right? And of course, it cures everything because you're high. You're basically you're on opiates now. So, but yeah, that's he's got the greatest economy ever. He was handed an economy that was fixed, that was rescued once again by Democrats, because this is what happens. Republicans take it, they give tax breaks to their buddies, they rig the game, they open up the spigot of corruption all over anywhere that they put their greedy, bony fingers on, and it ends up we feel the pain. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but Trump was handed an economy on the rise, and it was, if you look at the chart, I mean, it was going up. So was the stock market. He's always boasting about the stock market, which is another bullshit, because the stock market and the Main Street and Wall Street don't rise and fall together, as we know. So, when I just read, and we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but I read recently, it was the average salary on Wall Street is like $400,000 or something. Am I reading this right again? I can't remember. Was it 400 or 200? Whatever it was a lot. And I was like, if that's the average, of course, these people they're living in an ivory tower, to say the least. So they look down upon us as the peons that we are. And, hey, they made it. They figured out a scam. They came up with some scam to high frequency trade, or they figured out how to get in on Amway or some bullshit. They got into government to hand out cushy contracts to their pals, and I mean, this is who they are. They are criminals, except they're working it from the inside. This is an inside job, for real. So when when Trump, where is this fucking thing? So what really made me sick, honestly, I felt literally ill from the entire episode of Khashoggi, because we can't allow that to go away. That can't just be another thing. I mean, because I know it never stops, one after another. The offenses, the horrors. Who would have ever thought, though? And this is a dangerous world. Let me play this Mike Pompeo. His excuse after Trump basically, he danced with Saudi swords, and now he's kissing Saudi ass in Macy's window, pretty much. And Mike Pompeo, he wants to remind us that it's a mean and nasty world out there.
So it's a mean, nasty world out there. The Middle East in particular, there are important American interests to keep the American people safe, to protect Americans, not only Americans who are here, but Americans who are traveling and working, doing business in the Middle East. It is the President's obligation, and indeed the State Department's duty as well, to ensure that we adopt policies that further America's national security. So as the President said today, the United States will continue to have a relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're an important partner of ours. We will do that with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, its people. That is the commitment that the President made today. It's that straightforward. This is a long, historic commitment, and one that is absolutely vital to America's national security. We are determined to ensure that we continue to make sure that we take care of the American people in all of the strategic decisions we make about with whom we work around the world.
Michelle with NPR. So one quick follow-up on that, and then a question on Iran. So does the America First agenda mean putting U.S. business interests ahead of human rights concerns? And then on Iran, have you considered any specific actions, specific sanctions to pressure Iran to release the American citizens who are held there?
Hey, try taking your second question first.
Yep.
We are engaged every day, literally every day, in working to return every U.S. citizen who is either wrongfully detained or a hostage somewhere around the world. That certainly includes Bob Levinson and all those that are being held by the Iranian regime. We're determined to get them back. As President Trump has made very clear, we're not going to pay a price for their return, but we're prepared to work with all those who can assist us in getting those Americans returned to their families and returned here to our country. Your other question is best answered by talking about what we have already done. There has been an enormous effort with respect to fact-finding pertaining to the death, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. A lot of U.S. resources have been devoted to determining the facts to the best of our ability to determine precisely what happened there. The United States took a very strong response. We have sanctioned 17 individuals in connection with that investigation. We are at the same time committed to making sure that we place America's national security interests and all the...
All right, shut up. I mean, I just let that go on too long. How is it taking care of the American people if we allow a journalist, a member of the only profession enshrined in the First Amendment, in our founding documents, if we allow someone, a resident of this country, to be lured into a foreign consulate and dismembered alive? How is that protecting the American people? How is that America first? That the security of the American people? It's now, not only is Trump a con man, a serial sexual predator, a grifter, a liar, a Putin puppet, a traitor, but who received fewer votes, but he's also complicit in murder. He is helping a murder after the fact. He's aiding and abetting a murderer. And so, yeah, it is a mean and nasty world. We send drones and they hit wedding parties, and we're running around the globe creating chaos. Of course, I'm not that naive, but this is such an offense right out in the open, right in front of the entire world, to basically that he says it doesn't matter that you just murdered and dismembered a member of the press because you don't like what he was saying about you. You don't like the truth. Just like Trump doesn't like the truth, the fake news. And so what kind of a message is this to people who, for a living, hold our so-called representatives' feet to the fire? So we should all have that chill right now, the chill in the bones of freedom and democracy. So when he says America first, that is the furthest thing from the truth, because it wasn't America first. It would be putting America first to hold Saudi Arabia accountable, to not even allow it to happen, because why they thought that they could get away with it. And of course they're getting away with it. And for Trump, they knew that they could do it because Trump basically is, he's in on it. He doesn't care. He would love to murder and dismember some journalist, Jim Acosta, for one, right? He would love to do. He's got dictator envy for these bastards. And what does it? Oh, so America first is greed. That's it. Greed is the only value worthy of consideration. And don't you feel proud, America? Isn't your blood pumping red, white, and blue? That America first means that we allow brutal dictators. We not only get in bed with them, but we publicly praise them. We say thank you to these dictators who are living in the 13th century, right? But they got money, right? And Trump's in bed with them. He wants more money. There's never enough for that rapacious scumbag. So it doesn't matter if he'll walk with the devil himself. And then you have these evangelicals. As long as it doesn't matter how many journalists get dismembered alive, as long as Trump is all for what? He's pro-life, right? He's for babies, right? Well, Jamal Khashoggi was a baby once too. But he should have kept his mouth shut, right? Is that it? Well, I mean, what does it mean to be an American nowadays? We don't go around, as long as you could pay us, it's like any crime family. It's like, F you, pay me. All right? We'll just let you get away with whatever vile, inhumane, cause or deed that you create, that it doesn't matter. That's America now. I mean, don't you feel proud? I don't know. I feel kind of sick about it. I really felt sick to my stomach, literally, listening to Trump, watching him and all of his sycophants, like this Sarah Huckabee Sanders, these fake Christian, faux Christian sycophants to Donald Trump, to the world's worst morons and dictators. I mean, really, where have we gone? Like, did you ever imagine how low Donald Trump could take us? I keep hearing on Morning Joe, I keep hearing Joe Scarborough say how, the systems are holding, the democratic systems are holding. Are they really? When we have a journalist dismembered and lured into a consulate and butchered like an animal. And Donald Trump gets on Twitter and praises the butchers. And, nobody knows, he says. Nobody knows. It could have been, maybe not. Well, of course they know. The CIA knows. Our State Department knows. But Trump, once again, is siding with the world's monsters. And it's not even, it's not funny, really. So what do Republicans, how do they sleep at night? All you Republicans who pretend to love Jesus. You vote Republican because you love babies. And even though, that's a whole other story, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because, as far as loving babies, if you really loved babies, you would vote Democratic, but whatever. That's another, a story for another time. But it's, how much lower can we go? Did you ever imagine that I knew it was gonna be a nightmare. This is why when Donald Trump was selected to be the president despite receiving fewer votes, this is why I couldn't sleep. Why I was upset, why I was joining with my fellow normal people and, crying for the future of this country. Why we knew that we had our work cut out for us, that it was going to be not only a long road, but we were going to have to dig out our way out of whatever nightmare pit he's gonna put us in, right? Did we ever imagine, though, that it would be like this, that it would get like this, that we would have, that Donald Trump would literally be complicit in murder? You know what I mean? Like, out in the open. And it's not just the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, it's the murder of American values. It's the murder of everything that I thought we stood for. When those towers fell, when we were attacked, whatever, we always hear, we would move heaven and earth to save American lives. Well, what does it matter? Because Donald Trump says he's not an American citizen. That doesn't matter. He is a guest in our house, you scumbag. You don't allow butchers to come in and drag your guests out of your home and butcher them and kill them. The immorality of Republicans is, to me, it's shocking. And I was completely aware of just how vile they truly are. And I don't even care. Like, I know people, like, I talk about my sister, who votes for these monsters. Because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And any of the people that I know in my life personally who vote for a Republican, this is what you're voting for. Not only you're voting for butchers, you're voting for the Saudis. You're voting for the KKK, for the worst human beings on the planet. When you're voting for Donald Trump and the Republican Party, you're making the butchers of this world very happy. So, you gotta know people by the company they keep, right? Isn't that what we were taught as children? You want to know somebody, look at their friends. Look at Donald Trump's friends. Who are his friends? The worst dictators, the autocrats, the authoritarians, the murderers, the monsters, the greed-centered ghouls, the con men, the grifters, the fakes, the phonies, the snakes, the liars, the freaks who received fewer votes, the people who who proclaim who cheer when they kick people off health care. What is wrong with the Republican Party? Where are they? I mean, there were decent Republicans at one time, right? You would think. But where the hell are we? Is this America? Because it really sucks to know that we're not on the right side of humanity anymore. At least, when I was younger and I started to learn about American history. Of course, I didn't learn about the people's history of the United States till later. But I remember thinking, especially when I was learning about World War II and whatnot, that at least we're on the good guys. We're fighting for goodness. We would never do something like that. But of course, here we are. A reality right smack in our face. How vile, how disgusting and how embarrassing it is, really, to be an American now. That we have such a moron. And he's not just an innocent moron either. He's not like a lovable moron, right? He is a monstrous moron with no morals, absolutely devoid of morals, no core. This is a rapacious hole of blackness and greed. It's, millions of people voted for him. That's a very depressing thought when you think about it, right? And I think about it. That's really what made me very depressed too. When he was selected, despite receiving fewer votes, that was kind of a wake up call in a way that made me very depressed. That I thought I almost was like, wow, I cannot believe. Like I knew it was true on some level, but I just couldn't believe how many stupid, racist morons there are in this country, and selfish too, and they don't see the forest for the trees. They don't understand, right, that if somebody can be treated like that if they could pull Jamal Khashoggi into a consulate and dismember him, that we're all in danger, that we are all Jamal Khashoggi. They don't get that though, that when they get away with murder, that we're all in danger. We are now less free because of Donald Trump and his monstrous autocrats, his axis of evil. He's part of it, and we're part of it by extension. But that they could do that to one of our people, that a resident of this country can be pulled into a consulate and be disappeared, be dismembered, and just never seen again, to have his body parts just scattered around, and and to the point where they knew what the hell they were doing. Of course, I mean the lies, the way that they treat us, the whole song and dance that he had to go through. He was their biggest upset was that not that this had happened, but that they had to deal with it at all. Like, why wouldn't they? And they're so sloppy about it because they knew that they would get away with it. That's just the arrogance of power right there. Oh well, send some guy out walking around in his clothes because people are dumb, right? Hey, they voted for Donald Trump. They're stupid. They'll believe this bullshit. And what was Jamal Khashoggi actually writing? He wasn't really. He was just being critical of the crown prince. Even saying that the crown prince, right? Like, F you, buddy. The crown my ass. Crown my. You know what I mean? Like, crown it. Like, really, get down and crown it, you scum. you filthy bastards. These are, it's a mean world. Yeah, you're right. You're really right. It's also a very stupid world. And, as you can see by our so-called president. And, so it is, the other thing, I see what time it is. Let's see. I won't go into the other thing, but it's just, the whole thing. Let me see. Where is it? I want to play this other thing. It's Trump defending the Saudis because I guess I'm not sick enough. Let's see. Hold on.
We put out a statement on Saudi Arabia, which I guess most of you have seen, and we'll see how that all works out. It's a very complex situation. It's a shame, but it is what it is. It's all about America first. We're not going to give up hundreds of billions of dollars in orders and let Russia, China, and everybody else have them. It's all about, for me, very simple. It's America first. And I'm not going to tell a country that's spending hundreds of billions of dollars and has helped me do one thing very importantly, keep oil prices down so that they're not going to $100 and $150 a barrel. Right now, we have oil prices in great shape. I'm not going to destroy the world economy, and I'm not going to destroy the economy for our country by being foolish with Saudi Arabia. So they didn't make a determination. And it's just like I said, I think it was maybe he did, maybe he didn't. They did not make that assessment. The CIA has looked at it. They've studied it a lot. They have nothing definitive. And the fact is, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. If you look at Iran, what they've done, they've been a bad actor. You look at what's happening in Syria with Assad, with hundreds of thousands of people killed. We are with Saudi Arabia. We're staying with Saudi Arabia. And by the way, just so everybody, I have no business whatsoever with Saudi Arabia.
Bullshit. Bullshit. And all of the morons that cheer behind him, they're just as bad. They all have blood on their hands. All of them. They all do. Yeah, I know we're not innocent. Yeah, but this is a case unto itself that, maybe they know, maybe they didn't know. They knew. They knew. And Trump, once again, denigrating our intelligence services to what? He's got no business with Saudi Arabia, and that is bullshit on top of bullshit, because we know for a fact that the Saudis come to his shitty hotels and they pay and they bought out the entire hotel to make his hotel that was actually in the red, in the black. If they didn't buy it out, then they would have had been running at a deficit. This crappy hotel, one of his shitty hotels. This is what they do. So this is why it is important. And thankfully, you know how depressed you think I'm depressed now? Could you imagine if the Democrats didn't win? I mean, I would have to be, I don't know what. I'd probably be, who the hell knows? If the Democrats didn't win, the House at least, I'd have to really leave this country for good. Because I've thought about it a lot, honestly, because I could get my Irish citizenship, which I have to finish. I have to complete getting it, because my grandparents are from Ireland. And according to Irish law, you can become a citizen of certain countries have it, right of return or whatever they call it. And all I would have to do is register as a foreign birth. I actually got my grandfather's and grandmother's birth certificates. Believe this. This is Ireland, but it is a smaller place. I wrote to them and asked for my grandfather and grandmother's birth certificate. Now, this is like from the teens or whatever. And I got the damn thing in 2 weeks in my hands. I couldn't believe it. I had to get my father's birth certificate. It took months from the United States, but, I'm not saying who the hell knows. It was very odd. And my grandfather's birth certificate, it's handwritten. It's a copy of it, obviously, but I was pretty impressed by that it took, I swear, from the time I ordered it till I got it, it was in my hands in 2 weeks. It was crazy. So I was really shocked. But anyway, so I should really get my citizenship and get the hell out of here. This is what I think. I'll just go sit on a cliff somewhere and think about something other than fascism for a change, right? And stopping fascism, or hawking, telling people to donate so you can keep calm and join the resistance. I mean, maybe I should take my own advice. Keep calm. God damn it. Right? It is infuriating. All right, guys. So I'm going to take about an 8-minute break. You know the drill. I need to refresh my coffee. And so it's going to be Green News Report, and then we're going to have labor history with Rick Smith. And okay, so do me a favor, give the show a review on iTunes, share the show with your friends. If you can't become a patron, those are ways you can help too. And if you're in financial straits and you would like to be a patron, but you can't afford it, send me an email, and I would happily send you some keep calm and join the resistance window clings, right? I will, because we are in this together, and I don't want that being a bar to entry. Okay, but if you can support the show, those are the ways you can do it. I would like you to be a patron. That'd be great. The more patrons we get, the closer we get to having a daily show. I can also get more writers. We'll have more content. We'll have more stuff on RDT Daily on the Facebook page and everywhere. You can also buy some merchandise from the RDT Daily store. So if you go to RDT Daily, there's a link that says merch. We have some Francis Jr. Resist shirts, Deep State shirts, a bunch of shirts, and mugs, different things. We also have socks. We have Bluetooth players. That's pretty cool. And those are the ways. There are ways. We need help. This is how we do it. We don't have the Mercer family. We only have each other. So, all right, I'm going to take about an 8-minute break, and on the other side, we're going to rip into Cindy Hyde-Smith, because, you know what? She needs a case of the red ass. She's a winner. Of course, she's in the Republican Party, but okay. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll be right back in 8 minutes.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
This latest round of fires is the most destructive in California state history.
The most destructive and now the most deadly. Kids' landmark climate lawsuit against the federal government on hold yet again. Plus,
it was a political decision made by a judge. I think it's a disgrace.
Judge halts all work on controversial Keystone XL pipeline. Donald Trump is sad.
All of those stories and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
48,000 jobs. I approved it. It's ready to start.
48,000 jobs on the Keystone XL pipeline. Really? Why not just say 48 million jobs? Why not 48 quadrillion jobs? They're all lies. This is your Green News Report. Okay, Desi Doyen having some fun at Trump's sad, pathetic expense. Unfortunately, however, first, we've got to get to some very sad news out here in California.
Yes, California is again grappling with record-breaking, catastrophic, deadly wildfires. 3 major fires now burning in both northern and southern California that, as of airtime, have killed more than 40 people combined and forced more than 300,000 to evacuate. The largest of the fires, the Camp Fire in Northern California, went from spark to the most destructive fire in state history in just 48 hours. As of Monday, it became became the deadliest as well in state history. Driven by extremely dry weather and high winds, it spread at the speed of 80 football fields a minute, faster than many could evacuate. More than 200 people are still unaccounted for, nearly 7,000 structures destroyed, most of them homes. The state's previous record for the most destructive fire was set just last year.
And, of course, like last year, Donald Trump is claiming that all of this is because of forest mismanagement or some other nonsense. Any truth to that?
Absolutely not. State and local fire officials have rejected those tweets by President Trump that were attacking California and wrongly blaming forest management for the deadly fires. Brian Rice, president of the California Professional Firefighters Association, called Trump's comments, quote, reckless and dangerously wrong.
Yeah, I suppose all those folks who live on the beach in Malibu would be shocked to hear that it's because of forest mismanagement that has threatened their homes.
In the middle of an urban area.
Right.
No official cause for the fires has been determined yet, but state regulators on Monday said they are investigating utility companies, Pacific Gas and Electric and Southern California Edison, which both reported equipment failures in the vicinities of all three fires just minutes before each fire began. PG&E is already facing billions of dollars in liability after state agency CAL FIRE determined that PG&E's equipment was the cause of those several deadly catastrophic Northern California wildfires last year. But California's outgoing Democratic Governor Jerry Brown, in a press conference on Monday, placed the blame squarely on climate change, noting that fire season has now become a year-round threat in the state.
This is not the new normal. This is the new abnormal. And this new abnormal will continue, certainly in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. And unfortunately, the best science is telling us that dryness, warmth, drought, all those things, they're going to intensify.
In other news, the sweeping, historic climate lawsuit brought by a group of kids against the federal government is on hold again, just days after the U.S. Supreme Court lifted a temporary stay on the trial. 21 children and young adults under the age of 22 are suing the federal government, saying its failure to act on climate change is a violation of their constitutional rights to life and liberty. Late last week, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals again halted that trial, which had been slated to start in late October. The judges ruled the Trump Department of Justice, quote, raises issues that warrant an answer. The children's lawyers must file a reply by November 23rd. Finally, a federal judge has ordered both the Trump administration and TransCanada to stop all work on the controversial Keystone XL pipeline, ruling that President Trump's approval of the pipeline's cross-border permit last year violated several key environmental and administrative laws. The judges ruled that the administration simply discarded climate facts in its analysis supporting the pipeline. Quote, an agency cannot simply disregard contrary or inconvenient factual determinations on climate change. The State Department must now complete a new supplemental environmental impact statement that accounts for the effects of climate change and the impacts of potential oil spills on Native American tribal resources.
So they can't just change policy because they want to. They actually have to show that there's evidence to support good reason for changing this policy?
Exactly.
Well, what about 48,000 new jobs that would be created, as Donald Trump said?
Why not 11 billion?
Exactly. In truth, how many jobs are we talking about for the KXL?
Less than 4,000 temporary jobs, only 35 permanent jobs.
35 permanent jobs.
Mm-hmm.
For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to, check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Find us, follow us, and share us worldwide on the Facebooks and the Twitters at Green News Report. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Please help Progressive Voices support the Green News Report by stopping by bradblog.com/donate.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1947. That was the day that the front page of the Chicago Tribune printed a banner headline, Newspaper Printers Quit. 1,600 members of the International Typographical Union Local 16 had gone out on strike against 6 Chicago newspapers. The key reason for the strike was wages. The union also wanted the publishers to agree to hire only union labor. The walkout was part of a wave of printer strikes in the United States and Canada. In all, union members from 43 newspapers from 27 cities went out on strike. Most newspapers were able to keep printing during the walkouts, but many had to reduce the number of editions or make changes in how the paper was produced. According to an article published by the Associated Press, some are using a photo engraving process to circumvent their composing rooms, while others continue to use the normal methods. The Chicago strike wore on for 22 months. The strike also became an important labor struggle after the passage of the Taft-Hartley legislation. The legislation, approved by Congress earlier that year over President Harry Truman's veto, restricted the rights of labor unions, including outlawing the closed shop. Since the typographical unions were some of the oldest trade unions in the country, the strike became an important battleground over how Taft-Hartley would be interpreted. The American Newspaper Publishers Association hoped that Taft-Hartley could be a tool in smashing the strike. The courts sided with the publishers and demanded the union drop their demand for a closed shop. In the end, the union did win a $10 raise, a little more than two-thirds the amount they asked for during the strike. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for hanging out every Saturday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. at the RDT Daily Facebook and YouTube channels, and on Progressive Voices on Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. and on GDPR Revolution 99, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, everywhere else. Please become a patron. Help us grow. Eventually, we will become a daily show when we get enough patrons. We have a long way to go, but we just began, and I know that we will get there. I remember, I spoke about this before. I remember when I started RDT Daily on the Facebook page. I remember when I had 500, when we had 500 likes, quote unquote, on the Facebook page. And I remember thinking, wow, that's amazing. And now we have 150,000, or close to it, just about 149 and change. But it took years, though. I started that in 2009, so hopefully it won't take as long to get enough patrons to have a daily show, but one day at a time. We just never give up. That's what it is. That is the key. And we continue to fight for what is right, because we don't leave anybody behind. This is how I know we will win, and this is this is why the Republican ideology is it is an anti-human ideology, it's an anti-American ideology, because we are the true patriots. That's why they have to adopt the mantle of patriotism, but because they understand that we, the liberals, the normal people, are the true patriots, because we don't leave anyone behind. That's what it means to be a patriot. We don't leave anybody on the battlefield, and we don't leave them behind in ignorance, without health care. We don't leave them in the cold. We don't leave them hungry. We are in this together. That's what it means to have a civilization. That it's not that everybody has to have the same outcome, but we all have the same opportunities. And we have a system that will catch you if you fall, so that you can take risks and be an innovator, and take those risks without having to fear that you can't leave your job, let's say, because you can't lose your health care. That stifles innovation. And after a lifetime of work and whatever, you get to live in dignity, in a dignified retirement. That's what it means to have a functioning civilization, and this is what we are shooting for and working for. Not armed camps where I got mine, sucker. Better luck next life. Sucks to be you. Oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This heartless selfishness. That there is nothing less. There's nothing patriotic about it. there at all. In fact, we should be ashamed if anybody in this country can't go to a doctor. That should be something that we take to personally. Like, oh, what kind of country is this? That we should take it as a point of pride that people have opportunities and access to education and health care or whatever it is. So anyway, but what can you do? We're fighting against a lot of dumb bastards and a lot of it's really ignorance ultimately, because when you're spreading hate with lies, how do you tell yourself you're on the right side of history? Look at what happened with the caravan, for example, as we were saying. All of a sudden, the caravans disappeared, but now but Trump, right? This caravan. Let's put it this way. First of all, I wanted to get into before I go, because I wanted to talk about Cindy Hyde-Smith, but I'll just talk about the climate first, because I'm just getting into it. Because those are the two things I wanted to talk about: the climate report that came out, and then the Cindy Hyde-Smith. Because we talked about Cindy Hyde-Smith last week, the one who she would go to a lynching. I would be in the first row. She's so yuckity yuck. If I was invited to a lynching, I'd be in the front. Like, why would you do that? That's entertainment to a Republican, right? You know, that's entertainment. You know, they love it. They love it. So, I could find, why don't you stay home and watch Netflix or something, you know? You want to watch a lynching? What is wrong with you sick bastard? Of course she loves Jesus too, right? I'm sure. She's another Jesus lover. But I wish they did love Jesus. I really do. Anyway, but the whole thing, I was thinking about the caravan because Trump sent the troops down to stop people that were, bad people, apparently. All these babies. They're gonna, it's like Babyface Finster, I suppose. They're 1,000 miles away. They're super villains. They're coming to the border. They want your freedom. And there's only so much freedom to go around. Don't you understand, Republicans? And that's what they're afraid of. How could they have freedom for themselves if they allow others to have it? So so he sent the people down, troops, people that wore the uniform of this country, unlike him and all his useless minions and all the useless Trump family. The entire family from their whole history has never worn the uniform of any country, apparently. They're just takers. And so he sends the troops down to ruin their Thanksgiving and to do nothing, put up barbed wire, because he loves barbed wire, right? That's a normal thing to declare beauty. Oh, because that's what Trump said, the beautiful barbed wire. I mean, that's real, that's normal, right? It reminds me of something Hitler would say, and that we would look back on in history, and look back and be appalled at, right? But Hitler wouldn't say that probably because he wasn't as stupid as Donald Trump, and but Donald Trump he sends the soldiers down to the border to stop a caravan that's thousands of miles away, right? But this report on climate change that basically is going to alter life on Earth to make Earth uninhabitable. What's the hurry? What's the rush, right? I don't know. I mean, the jury's out on it. There's 99.999% of all of the studies and the studies that weren't paid for by the oil company all declare that we're in big trouble here, brother. But there's that one guy that they get on Fox News all the time, the one who he would say, he would sell his own mother. He'd make his mother suck on an exhaust pipe for the right price. And but you know, that guy says we got some time. Well, maybe it's man-made, maybe not. But who gives a shit if it's man-made or not? If it's let's not do. What does it matter? Whether you do something about it, whether it's man-made or not, we can. Like, why we don't want to clean up the planet by accident, like clean up the mess and make a greener, more hospitable, less polluted planet. Why? I mean, wouldn't that be something we would want to do anyway, regardless? But, you know, we wouldn't want to do that. But, you know, the Saudis, I guess. Here we go. These blood-soaked butchers want to sell their I guess their oil. I mean, that's the only thing that props up that disgusting regime is oil. That's it. I mean, where would Trump and his pals be? Where would the Trump Hotel in Washington be without an uninhabitable planet, right? So it all comes down to that. Because what does Trump care ultimately? Because he's going to be dead soon. How old is this guy? He's not. I mean, the thing that's a little bit depressing too is that Trump's mother lived to be 99, so he might have those genes, but right? Who cares when there's Mars? Let's go to Mars. Yeah, why limit Republican stupidity to Earth? Let's bring it to space too. So there's a whole big universe out there where we can spread this ignorance, and so why hold back? Where Pence can talk about Jesus to the Martians. But so anyway, which I thought was pretty amazing that this climate report comes out, and of course they suppressed it. They released it on the holiday weekend, and where hopefully nobody would pay attention. And because it's not a caravan after all. It's not a caravan of desperate people wanting to live. It's just life on planet Earth. I mean, whatever. And so let's see. It says, this is from Reuters. It says the congressionally mandated report, written with the help of more than a dozen U.S. government agencies and departments, outlined the projected impact of global warming on every corner of American society, in a dire warning that is at odds with the Trump administration's pro-fossil fuel agenda. I mean, why would you want to even, if there's an alternative, you have cleaner, greener energy that doesn't make you have to clean up birds who get washed in oil. I know that makes a cute commercial for Dove when they're washing oil off of seagulls. I don't know why that should be kind of we should be pretty upset about that, but it doesn't. I don't know what I'm saying anyway. It's baffling to me why, when you think about it, when you even don't think about it, how in a different time, you know, if you had a group of people that were denying, you're denying something that you're going to kill people, you're going to kill the planet. You are making life on Earth a distant dream. You're killing humanity. You're killing the planet. And these dumb bastards, because they want to hold on to their greed just a little bit longer. I want more for me. And another time, they would be marched to the edge of the village and kicked the hell out. Be like, get the hell out of here. Right? But we allow this to, there's doubt. There is no doubt. So, but it does, I mean, they keep voting for these idiots. And, how do we allow it to continue? I mean, this is what gets me depressed, because it's like, when this is staring you in the face, when you have, it's life itself. these pro-life Republicans, these fetuses, where are the fetuses, the former fetuses gonna live when we don't have Earth, when there's no planet B, right? So what, they love babies, but where are these babies gonna live? They have to, we only got Earth here, sucker. So, it's beyond belief how they will move heaven and earth to send troops to put a barbed wire for a bullshit, political stunt, and will do nothing, zero, absolutely nothing, but kiss Saudi ass and stroke their swords for political gain again too, while killing. I thought I thought he even liked Ivanka, right? You think he would do it for his own kids, if not for, but it doesn't matter. There's just enough, it never ends. There's never enough. He needs more money, more shit to pour into that empty vessel of need. That's what he is. So, hey Tara, how's Francis Jr.? He's doing good. He's not here. He's in the other room. He's actually doing pretty well. Francis, let's see if he'll come out. He comes when he's called. Francis, give him a minute. You know how cats are. So, all right. Anyway, so let me play this other dumb bitch. And I'm not talking about myself, all right? What I thought was hilarious, because last week we talked about, what's-her-face, Cindy Hyde-Smith, which it's fascinating. For some reason, she's really fascinating to me, because she reminds me of, if you ever watched Jerry Blank on Strangers with Candy, with Amy Sedaris. That's what she looks like, and she looks like a joke to me. She looks like a caricature of a Republican congressperson who is so clear. She's a joke, who's an open racist, who's cheering in a Confederate hat. I mean, you couldn't make this shit up. And so she apologized, apparently, because she found out that a lot of people they didn't take kindly to her yucking it up about going to being in the front row of a lynching in a state that participated in decades of terrorism against their black population that kept them down through lynching and this systematic. I thought that was Francis. So. She had to apologize for it, but the funny thing is, it's, this God-fearing Christian couldn't really muster the apology from the heart. She had to read it off a notepad, and I thought that was pretty odd. But let me play it.
For anyone that was offended by my comments, I certainly apologize. There was no ill will, no intent whatsoever in my statements. In nearly 20 years of service, of being your state senator, your commissioner of agriculture, and your U.S. senator, I have worked with all Mississippians. It didn't matter their skin color type, their age, or their income. That's my record. There has never been anything, not one thing in my background to ever indicate I had ill will toward anyone. I've never been hurtful to anyone. I've always tried to help everyone. I also recognize that this comment was twisted and it was turned into a weapon to be used against me, a political weapon used for nothing but personal and political gain by my opponent. That's the type of politics Mississippians are sick and tired of.
Mr. Espy, Secretary Espy.
Well, no one twisted your comments because the comments were live. It came out of your mouth. And I don't know what's in your heart, but we all know what came out of your mouth. And it went viral, within the first 3 minutes around the world. And so it's caused out-state harm. It's given out-state another black eye that we don't need. It's just rejuvenating those stereotypes, that we don't need anymore. And we have companies like Walmart that wrote you today and told you that your comments did not reflect the values of their company.
So I love that she's like, it was an agenda, it twisted when your words that come out of your mouth are quoted verbatim, it's just somebody was just out to get you, that it was twisted for political gain. Well, first of all, honey, you're in politics, so what do you mean twisted for political gain? Well, no, I don't care how much you follow me or most normal people with a camera. None of us are gonna joke about being at a lynch-in. This is my friend over here. Why would you use that vernacular? Why would you use that turn of a phrase? Who are you speaking to? If he invited me to a lynching, I'd be in the front row. Now, what she was doing was calling out, forget the dog whistles, she had the bullhorn to Mississippi's Klan, to the racists, to the ones that are longing for the good old days. When Donald Trump says, make America great again, that's what they're thinking of. They're thinking of black people swinging from a tree, because that's the good old days to them, when everybody knew their place, when they knew that they could get away with murder, when this is what Donald Trump has appealed to, these racists. And this is why we need to make racists afraid again, make them ashamed again, put them back in the closet where they belong. And so when she says, I would be in the front row of a lynching, that's who she's talking to. She knows exactly what she's saying. She's like, I'm one of you. I am a racist, just like you. You don't, it's like Gillum in, what's his name, saying, we don't want to monkey this up or whatever. That's who they're talking to. And it's not even, Republicans are like, I'm tired of being called racist. Well, why do you think that would be? Why do you think that we would call you racist? Well, stop being racist. Stop being a goddamn racist. But evolve. Do the world a favor. Look at yourself. It's not other people, it's you. If you're afraid of other people who aren't exactly like you, then go to a shrink. Get help. Get help for your manias. Stop inflicting them on the world, on a decent society, because this is a nation of immigrants. Whether you like it or not, whether Donald Trump solves your tiny ego and your fears or not, whether they take it out of the Immigration and Naturalization Service. Well, this is what they did. They took out the United States is a nation of immigrants. They've changed that in our documents. Even still, we are still a nation of immigrants. They can erase it all they want. They can deny it all they want. In fact, Donald Trump himself, his grandmother was from Scotland. So but they're from the right part of the world, right? The white part of the world, like Norway. Why don't we get more Norwegians in here? More blondes. But so today apparently it came out that Cindy Hyde-Smith was attended a segregation academy. Now, they actually have that in Mississippi, which is pretty funny, because they don't want to go to school with black people. You see, that's how small-minded they are. That's how ignorant they are. Rather than seeing that as an opportunity to get to know other human beings who aren't exactly like them, who experience a little bit of the flavor of life, the diversity, the colors of the rainbow, to get out more, to take a look past your eyelashes and see what the hell is going on in that to me is interesting. I like to learn about other people and other cultures. It doesn't mean that my culture or whatever, or me, that I disappear because you value or you have respect for other people. Who the hell knows? Maybe Cindy Hyde-Smith would learn something. Maybe she'd like people who aren't exactly like her. Maybe her mind would open and she'd be a better person. But no, her and her little tiny world, her parents and all of the people in her little tiny world, they wanted to keep themselves, they want to be safe together. And so their version of safe, which is small and fearful, tiny and sad, really, right? So when you have this whole world in front of you, you have a whole rainbow in front of you, but all you want to do is color and black and white or whatever. What kind of a life? And now she wants to represent people. Somebody like this who's so tiny and fearful that she didn't want to go to school with black people. That's kind of sick. And how are you going to represent black people if you don't want to associate with them? That you're so little in every way that you went to this segregationist school. It's so baffling to me. So it says, where is this? This is from Politico. It says Cindy Hyde-Smith embattled bid for another 2 years in the Senate hit another race-related hurdle this weekend as a report in a Mississippi newspaper revealed the Republican incumbent graduated high school at a segregation academy. It's really, it's beyond. A photograph from the 1975 edition of the Lawrence County Academy Yearbook, published Friday by the Jackson Free Press, appears to show Hyde-Smith among a group of cheerleaders, including a mascot holding a Confederate flag. Of course, it's so boring with these losers, these lost cause losers that hold on to the flag of traitors. And, we're rebels. What are you rebelling? You're rebelling against the government of the United States. Well, get the F out then. Get out. Go live in Liberland. Go to Somalia. There's no government there. There's no government at all. Nothing holding you down by your bootstraps there, right? Get the hell out. You don't like, I don't like government. No, you know what it is? They just don't like to share. They don't like to share civilization with brown people. That's what it is. They don't like it. They can't handle it. So, I mean, ultimately, this is what we were saying in the beginning of the show. You just scratch the surface of any Republican, and right underneath, it's like racism is just under the surface. And I don't care really who it is. Give me 5 minutes with a Republican. I will get to the bottom of it, and it will be revealed. It's always some form of ignorance, some racism, or there's also the self-loathing closet case gay. That's another one that I found in my travels, where you can, and there's, please, it's not a surprise. The telltale sign of a closet case is that they're homophobic. So I've had a few experiences with anti-gay people that have turned out to be gay. Of course they are, because they hate themselves and they're inflicting it on the world. They think that if they eliminate the temptation, that they'll somehow heal themselves. But really it's they hate themselves. It's just really sad that we only have this one life, and you're spending your limited lifespan trying to convince people that you're not gay, that you don't love other people of the same sex. Because why? Because a sky spook, because a giant sky spook told you that you're wrong, and Mike Pence validates it somehow. It's very sad, because guess what? This is it. This is your life. You don't get a second chance. I mean, maybe, who knows? I don't know. I don't know all the answers, obviously. I don't know all the mysteries of the universe, but this is your life right now. And I always feel like, isn't that sad to think that somebody spent their life as a closet case? And a Republican. I mean, please, talk about sad. Oof. But, so it says, the thing that I found funny with this was, let me see. She's whining about it, of course. This is another thing. Republicans are always like, why are you attacking me with my own words that come out of my mouth? She says that it was a gotcha. They gotcha. This is another thing. I think that's what Sarah Palin started that whole, this is a gotcha question. Gotcha? What is gotcha? When you ask a question, there's no gotcha, and you suck, and you answer it like an idiot, and a racist, and a freak, and a moron, and your words that come out of your mouth are repeated back verbatim, and you sound like the racist idiot that you are, that's not gotcha. That's being informed. That's informing the public. That's why the founding fathers put a free press in the First Amendment, so we can be informed. It's not about gotcha. It's about being an educated populace and making informed decisions when we vote. So, because you don't want to vote for some idiot that was so small and myopic and who, in a nation of immigrants, went to a segregation school because she couldn't hang out with people who had a darker pigment. You know what I mean? I mean, it's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. So, it says, so she's whining. Of course they whine. That's what it is. The whining is so tedious with these Republicans. It's like everything is unfair. And now, of course, because Trump has blazed the trail and modeled for them how to complain about it, is that when you don't like what's being said about you in the press, just cry fake news, cry liberal media, cry gotcha, cry that, just cry in general. These are the biggest. First of all, this woman too, she got this position was handed to her. She didn't even win the election originally, so everything's been handed to her, and now she's whining that somebody might take it away. This brown person might take it away. So it's in this in the Jackson Free Press. These pictures came out of the segregation school in the 70s, which is unbelievable. It's not that long ago, right? And you think, this is a different time. No, it's not. It's this time. And guess what? They would do it again if they could. They certainly would. And that's the good old days. When you have a president, a so-called president, who is pleasing David Duke, the Grand Wizard of the KKK, is cheering for him all over, who's tweeting out his accolades, thanking him prolifically. Thank you for keeping it real. This is not a distant past. Like, we could go through this again. History is not a straight line. It's not like, thank God we got past that. It can most certainly be revisited. We might, when we forget, when the generations forget, and I hope not. I hope not. But I don't ever think that we couldn't go through this again. That we wouldn't have segregation schools or even slavery. We have slavery in different forms now. But believe you me, if corporate America could get away with it, there would be slaves. There would be indentured servants. That's probably how it would start. They've already started to bring back debtors' prisons, and that's something you could. I'm not really prepared to talk about it, but I remember reading about it. So it's we're still a very segregated society. And I think in a lot of ways the internet has made us a smaller place, a smaller world, and that's good, because when Republicans tell us bullshit tales about, let's say, universal health care, which is why I think that in a lot of ways 70% of people now are for a Medicare for all system. But that's partly because we can see for ourselves. You don't have to have a passport to fly around the world metaphorically. You get to see different parts of the world right at your fingertips, on your computer, on your phone. You see that there are other countries that universal health care is not is not tyranny. It doesn't mean you're a Nazi. It was so fascinating when we had the Obamacare fight, how these dumbass Republicans were like, oh, that's how Hitler started. He gave everyone health care, which is bullshit because the Germans had health care for years before. So it wasn't but we know how liars they are. Now, lies like that don't get to, you hope they don't have they don't have as much legs, I guess. What's the saying, in a way, even though that's the danger of having silos of information where you have like a Fox News that makes its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all, where people just watch Fox News. Then that's the danger, where they don't get out, and where you have their standard bearer telling them to distrust other sources of information. That's the recipe for authoritarianism. It's the recipe for anti-democratic authoritarianism, and what is pro-democratic authoritarianism? But anyway, so this let's see. I was just gonna say, Hyde-Smith graduated from the Lawrence County Academy in 1977, meaning she would have already been in school elsewhere at the time the academy opened. But although the U.S. Supreme Court ordered public schools to desegregate in 1954 and again in 55, because I guess the first one didn't take, freedom and all, but to do so with deliberate speed, Mississippi slow-walked the integration of its school as long as possible. Well, you know what John Roberts said, we didn't need that Voting Rights Act anymore because racism was over, right? And I don't know if you heard the arguments, because we're not allowed to watch what's going on at the Supreme Court, but you can hear it. And he was questioning the lawyers in the case when they were attacking the Voting Rights Act. And John Roberts was saying, are you saying that there's certain parts of the United States that are racist, that are more racist than others? Like, are you telling me there's gambling in this establishment? Yeah. And so they overturned parts of the Voting Rights Act because, segregation, racism is over. And within hours, it was less than an hour it took for that ruling to come down for Texas and I can't remember which other states to start their bullshit voter suppression bullshit tactics. And because, they love America and freedom and all, right? They're patriots. They wear their made in China American flag lapel pins on their chest, and they sing teary-eyed renditions of America the Beautiful because they love America while they're suppressing the votes and kicking down on just about everyone in America. So blocking people who have just as much right to participate in self-governance, while all those soldiers dead who gave their lives are lying in cemeteries around the world for that freedom. These America-loving patriots are attacking the very freedom that so many gave their lives to entrust to us. So anyway, they don't even see. How do they see themselves as patriots? That's the question. Do they really? Do they see themselves as patriots? I guess they do. They have to believe on some level that they're doing it for their people. Some people, it's like all men, quote unquote, are created equal. Some are more equal than others, I guess. But, okay. Anyway, I don't know. Well, that's the thing. She's just whining about it. Right? Why can't you be racist? You just can't go to a segregated school anymore without some gotcha questions coming up about it. Gotcha. So, And what else? There was one other thing. I'm looking at the time. The other thing is, let's see. There's so many other things. I mean, I grabbed so many. Oh, well, the one thing speaking of gotchas, what, I don't know if you guys saw, of course, Trump, well, he was thankful for himself on Thanksgiving. They asked him, what are you thankful for? He was like, me, I'm glad that I have done so great. I mean, what balls on this guy, right? I mean, he may have a smaller than average penis, but he's got balls, baby. I mean, according to Stormy Daniels, I don't know. Personally, please, why I don't want dead eyes like Melania, right? I'm sure I'm not in his league, of course. He only goes for the most whatever. He needs a trophy wife, right? So he don't want no bitch like me. Well, not that I would with him anyway. Ugh. Could you imagine? You have to have dead eyes to allow Donald Trump to climb on top of you. I wonder if the dead eyes become before or after. Is it I guess it's probably before, because you in order to get to that point, you have to be dead inside in some way to allow him, right? Or you have to be a professional. You gotta be, all right, I'm doing this for money. And that's what Melania too. Come on, you think that they're in love? You think that they're this soulmates? That they saw each other and across a crowded room that they needed to spend their lives together? No, Donald Trump saw Melania and he needed to trade up because his other wife was getting a little old. Or maybe she was getting lippy or something. Who knows? And then, well, obviously his first wife, she aged. She's, that's what happened. So did he. But women, he needs a trophy wife. How do you look on his arm? And Melania, that's fine with her. That's her profession. That's what she wanted. And she did what she had to do. Anyway, but, the other thing that I saw was he was attacking, Admiral William McRaven, who said that Trump is the greatest threat to democracy. I'll just play what he said. Hold on.
February 17th, the president said the news media is the enemy of the American people. The news media is the enemy of the American people. This sentiment may be the greatest threat to democracy in my lifetime. This sentiment. And I will tell you as journalism majors, as Americans, you should challenge that sentiment and that statement every opportunity you can.
That's right. And so Trump, of course, had a response to him. Let me see. Where is it? Give me a second. Did I capture this? Because he was saying, let me find it. Oh, someone's meowing behind me. Yes, can I help you? Where is it? Oh, I was looking for it because maybe I didn't capture it because he was like, Hillary Clinton supporter. That's what, as if that's, first of all, it's not even, who knows if that's even true? I don't know if this admiral is a Hillary Clinton supporter. What he is an American who understands that any so-called president that attacks the free press, as the enemy of the people, is the enemy of the people, is the enemy of freedom and democracy. So it doesn't matter for whether this admiral is a Hillary Clinton supporter. I'm not surprised if that's the case, because Hillary Clinton isn't attacking the free press. And neither are any normal America-loving, normal patriot Democrats So, and I mean that with as far as Republicans, because Republicans, I don't care whether you are concerned or you watch Trump's latest Twitter tirade with a furrowed brow. You're part of the problem, because you don't get a free pass here just because you have supported him, you have empowered him, and you made him your standard bearer. I don't care. You all beg for his support. You fear his derision. And so when he's going off about the press is the enemy of the people, which allows Saudis to murder a member of the free press, then you're just as complicit, just like Ivanka's complicit in her not doing anything to hold her so-called father, to feet to the fire, father's lover, who knows, I don't know. But so it doesn't matter whether this guy supported Hillary Clinton, and it's besides the point. Oh, look who it is. It's not Tara. This is Tara Jr. It's not Francis. It's my other cat. Hello. He just jumped. He usually doesn't come out during the show. It's usually Francis. So just sit here and be quiet. We only have 5 minutes left. So, but it doesn't matter who you vote for. This is part of American democracy. We're all supposed to be indebted to the Constitution and the rule of law, not Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump. But Donald Trump doesn't know that. That's the problem. And anybody who is a true patriot recognizes what the danger. I know it's hard, right? Listen how purry he is. Are you purring? You can't hear him. All right, get down. Sorry, guys. Get down. Uh-oh. He's going to knock the thing over. Get down. Anyway, guys, it's the end of the show anyway. So let me just wrap up by saying that anyone who says the press is the enemy of the people is the enemy of the people, right? I mean, that's really the bottom line. And so, okay, next week is not going to be a live show. All right, because I'm going to Georgia to celebrate with Mike Malloy, to celebrate his book, and I'm going to do it because, like I said, what is the meaning of life? Otherwise, I'd be really, really depressed. I'd be worse depressed. I'm depressed now. I'd be even worse. Because I was thinking about it, and as I was listening to Mike, and he talking about the event, I was really feeling bad because why are we alive, right? But to work and just no, you gotta celebrate with your friends their victories, and this is a great victory for Mike to have written a book, and it's published, and I have advanced copies of it, and I'm reading it, and it's great, and I encourage you all to get it. And especially, I mean, what an amazing life Mike's had, and it's not over yet, thankfully. So but it's really, it's a trip, and I'm really honored and fortunate to know him. He's helped me immensely. He's a true friend. So, like I said, we stick together, we win. We're in this together. I feel, I see you out there, guys. I see you every week, and I am so thankful that you joined me here. And I know that when the other people join during the podcast and different replays and all. So, but I am appreciative. I don't even know what to say. I'm just grateful that you're here, that we're in this together, and the show is growing thanks to you. So what else? So I'll see what happens. I might do a show tomorrow. I have to see how the day goes, but just so we'll have a new show for Progressive Voices next week. Otherwise, it will be a repeat, which is kind of boring. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I might just pop on and do the show, and who knows, right? It goes by very quickly for me. I hope that you enjoy it, I assume that you do because you come back, right, every week. And so do me a favor, if you can, become a patron of RDT Daily and this show. Help us grow. Help us get to our ultimate goal, which is to do a daily show. Maybe who knows how fast we'll get there. Hopefully. Thank you. I'll take pictures. I'll share pictures. I'll talk about of the event. And maybe some video. Maybe we'll do some live video from there. Bob Kincaid is going to be there, and Mike, and maybe we'll just do some. I'll just pop on during at 6 o'clock or something, and we'll say hello. But other than that, like I say, I will see you back here live in 2 weeks, and maybe tomorrow. But like I say, we stick together, we win, and we will win. And I'll see you guys soon. My name is Tara Devlin. See you.